Good morning. Welcome to your Fast Track to 7 a.m. on the Valley today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ashlyn Hill.
And I'm Alex Larson. Happening later today, a West Fargo murder trial getting underway in Cass County. Jury selection kicks off at 9 a.m.
It's not unusual for proceedings to last all day in jury selection, especially in a case like this. Spencer Moen is accused of beating his wife to death in August of last year. Her name is Sonia Moen.
We told you last week 2 of the young Moen children are expected to testify. Prosecutors say they were home at the time of Sonia's death and witnessed parts of the event, but a judge did rule they will testify through Zoom.
This is based off the recommendation of 2 therapists who the children have seen 36 times each since their mother's murder. The experts found that testifying in front of their father physically would further add to the trauma they've already experienced.
The defense arguing, though, that could impact the way the jury sees Moen, making him look guilty from the jump. They also questioned the young children's competency.
I don't even know if the court has found that these children are competent to testify. I mean, they still believe in Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, and unicorns.
That trial is expected to last at least 4 days. You can follow along with all the updates on your VNL News app.
2 Fargo MAP bus drivers have been out of work for months after they say they got extremely ill from fumes coming from the bus they were driving.
This story comes to us from the whistleblower hotline after the drivers claim to have been exposed to some kind of harmful chemical during their normal routines.
Zachary and Mars say they've been experiencing constant headaches, dizziness, and confusion ever since they both drove the same bus. They're speaking out, they say, because MAP Bus still continues to have that bus in service, something they say is potentially harmful.
The last time I was in for occupational health, the doctor looked at me and said that the symptoms me and him are experiencing are equivalent to somebody who was like in a house fire and inhaled carbon monoxide.
In response, MAP Bus says they're aware of the claims and they are investigating.
Again, that came to us through our whistleblower hotline. If you've experienced anything like this or have an issue within the community,
you can call the whistleblower hotline at the number on your screen. That's 701-369-3187. Just leave your tip. We'll do our best to get to the bottom of it. An update now on a head-on crash we told you about yesterday. An 83-year-old woman from Fergus Falls has now died. Minnesota State Patrol says it happened around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon on Highway 210, about 3 miles east of Breckenridge.
Details are limited, but we do know another man, 30-year-old Dylan Church, has life-threatening injuries. He was taken to Sanford and Fargo. One man also seriously hurt after a farm accident in Otter Tail County. Deputies called just before noon yesterday to the southeast area of Vining, Minnesota.
They arrived to find 76-year-old Daryl Bardson pinned underneath a tractor. They say he was working on the tractor when it drove over him. He was life-flighted to Fargo with what they call crushing injuries. Wildfires that sparked up over the weekend north of Bismarck are now 100% contained. The series of fires starting on Saturday.
Fire officials originally thought more than 2,000 acres had burned. The cause of the fires still unknown at this time. 6:54 here on our Tuesday. A beautiful start, but a cold start if you're just waking up and getting ready to head out the door. Meteorologist Lisa Green joining us with the details this morning. Hi, Lisa.
Good morning. Yes, the coldest morning of the season for us here in Fargo. It's definitely feeling chilly out there. Not just the coldest of the season, but it's been about 6 months since April that we've seen temperatures down into the 20s and in the range we are in currently in Fargo and in other places of the valley too. Now, I know there are some spots that have already seen freezing, and those are areas that are not included in this freeze warning. So you can see up along the international border over to the east, not included in the freeze warning because we've already had our first freeze of the season there. Elsewhere in this deep purple color from Grand Forks to Fargo surrounding areas, dealing with that hard freeze around the region there, and that is definitely going to be something that you're going to notice when you step outside this morning. That freeze warning in effect until 10 a.m. so still some hours left on this one as temperatures have yet to perhaps cool down completely for the day. It's usually right around sunrise or even a little after that we often see our coldest temperatures of the day. Here's where we are currently. Fargo checking in at 26 degrees right now. Very cold. This is when we get into the upper 20s and lower, that's when we get into that killing freeze, effectively ending the growing season in these spots. Oaks is at 23. It's 25 in Jamestown right now. We're checking in at 27 in Wadena. And in the Northern Valley, some similar numbers. Grand Forks checking in at 26. It's 27 in Roseau, and a trio of 23s in Langdon, Walhalla, and Cavalier this morning. Keep in mind there is a little wind in places like like Walhalla, like Langdon, have been experiencing some wind chills down into the teens. So dress accordingly. Looking at some clear skies, aside from a few areas where we have a little bit of fog, so watch out for some patchy, dense fog. And out at the bus stop, the kids are going to want the heavier coat here if they're going to be waiting outside for a while. And then moving into the afternoon, you can see temperatures getting back into the 50s today. And we do recover after this. This is going to be our coldest morning of the week. Tomorrow, there might be some patchy frost in a couple of spots, but overall warming things up when a strong south wind kicks in for the second half of the week. And with that comes that factor of being concerned about fire weather. So we'll get more into that as the week goes along. But until then, just trying to stay warm this morning.
Yeah, amen.
It gets better, though.
It does. Yeah, we've got a 74-degree high coming up on Thursday.
Nice.
Lots to look forward to. Thank you, Lisa.
The final North Dakota gubernatorial debate was held last night in Bismarck, in which all three candidates took the stage, participating to earn the votes of North Dakotans.
Valley News Team's Ethan Kramer was at that debate and had the chance to debrief with independent candidate Michael Coachman about how the night went.
A lot of people who are really on both sides of the aisle of me said, we really like you, we're going to be voting for you. And that tells me, he says, when they came in, they said, we had our mindset one way, you changed it.
And if you're feeling the stress over this year's election, you're not alone.
A new study shows many Americans are even losing sleep over it. Valley News Team's Harrison Prey sat down with local sleep professionals and has more.
In nearly 3 in 4 Americans, about 74%, say stress has impacted their sleep this year.
It's hugely common. I don't think we can get away from stress in our society.
The U.S. News and World Report surveyed 1,200 Americans in August to visualize their sleep quality and habits. They found that this year's election was one of their top worries, impacting their night of rest.
There's a lot of emotions that get stirred up around elections. It's not that elections are new, it's that we are inundated with all of this material.
Annie Schlecht, sleep consultant at Zen Sleeping Consulting, says that without getting the proper amount of rest, you are prone to be more anxious.
Stress and anxiety are the principal underlying cause of most insomnia.
Whether or not the findings are surprising, looking into recent history would make you believe that this is common.
It doesn't. I mean, I feel like every 4 years, whenever there's an election that comes up, there is some kind of a study that's out there talking about the election and impacting sleep. I know in the 2020 election, I think it was a Michigan study that had kind of stated these same statistics.
Schlecht's advice is to do yourself a favor and prioritize sleep. That way, you will give yourself the best chance to make a good selection come November 5th.
And obviously getting good sleep needs to be one of those, because you're going to be a lot more capable of making a sound choice, let's say, in the election coming up, when you are well rested.
In Fargo, Harrison Prey, Valley News Live.
The findings show that nearly 1 in 3 Americans, about 31%, are worried about the election.
Well, great news. A Minnesota teacher remaining the reigning champ yesterday of the annual pumpkin weighing contest in Northern California.
Let's go. Travis Geinger of Anoka, Minnesota, has won the contest 4 years in a row. After driving that massive gourd over 35 hours from home, he beat his closest competitor by just 6 pounds, clinching the victory at the 51st World Championship Pumpkin Weigh-Off that happens in Half Moon Bay, south of San Francisco.
All right, take a look at that. His winning gourd came in at 2,471 pounds, falling short, though, of the world record he set last year with 2,749 pounds. Wow. Thanks for joining us this morning, everybody.
See you tomorrow.